I made this little video after a long time of not having made videos about The Sims 3. A video game that is absolutely my favourite. Not even one of my favourite, my absolute favourite game that I've ever played. So I actually got The Sims 3 as a gift in 2014. Yes, I had this game for about 11 years at this point. I think, honestly, I have never spent as many consecutive hours in any other game than this one. Just a bit of context, the original Sims 1 was released back in 2000, and it really defined the life simulator genre. A couple years later, after 6 expansions for that game, came along The Sims 2, and in 2009, the Sims 3 actually got released. And actually, in 2014, as I got The Sims 3 as a gift, The Sims 4 was already out and started to not just gain momentum, but be advertised in Sims 3 launcher and in the Origin app that was needed to start The Sims 3. However, I never really got interested in The Sims 4 outside of reviews because of those reviews and general criticism of the game. The Sims 3 is the only Sims game to ever have had an open world. Yes, that was apparently removed in The Sims 4 because it would run faster. What an excuse. Computers have gone so much more powerful in the time in between the release of these two games. Now, not only that, with The Sims 3, when I got the gift, I also had an expansion pack and a stuff pack. For those of you who don't know, expansion packs used to be physical discs that you would put into the computer to load in additional content for the game. Before we had high-speed broadband internet, online secure payments, and hard drives that make the old HP compact from my childhood look tiny, even though it might have had a pretty big drive. I mean, to be honest, a lot has changed, and yet The Sims 4 decided to move back a step, because the original two Sims games didn't have an open world. That was simply too hard to do at that time. Sims 3 introduced that, and then Sims 4 removed it again. And I really do love that open world aspect of The Sims 3. Because, you know, it actually lets you follow your sim around, and it feels like they're actually living in a city instead of just being stuck at home most of the time, outside of work or school. Now, of course, The Sims 3 only ever came out for Windows and Intel Macintosh, Intel Mac computers. So, how do I play it nowadays on Linux? Well, after that whole talk about praising The Sims 3 and trying to criticize The Sims 4's lack of open world and also its expansion packs, I've actually got an entire page on my website trying to criticize The Sims 4 and just tell why I'm not that interested in that game, and much more so in The Sims 3. Let's talk about that little trick I use. And it's actually not a trick, it's officially supported, kind of. And I basically play via Steam Proton, which is a compatibility layer that you can download via the Steam client that allows you to play Windows games on Linux. And its introduction was an absolute godsend to Linux gaming, because all of a sudden you're no longer stuck to Doom ports and open source games. You actually could play the games you used to play on Windows when you switch to Linux. Mostly. ProtonDB shows you how compatible your game is. And I looked up The Sims 3 over there. It was very compatible with Proton. So the only real problem was, back when I got The Sims 3 in 2014, I actually had to register an EA account. Back then it was called Origin. And we did so with my mom's email address. And so I had to get mom to confirm my login so that I can at least change my password and log into the EA app and play The Sims 3 just like I used to, right? Well, there were a couple of more steps which I'm going to show you later on in this video what I've done, as well as, just some gameplay from the game. Yes. Unfortunately, when I switched over to Linux, I thought I'm going to keep my save games to Windows and not back those up in Linux, which was an unfortunate mistake. Every single save game I've ever played up until this point is gone. They're just gone because The Sims 3 didn't have a backup system built in, which actually is okay. Some games that have a cloud-based save system only use that instead of your local save, so that you have to be online all the time. For The Sims 3, that is not necessary, which is great. Especially considering the privacy implication that I have to have a program that always phones home. And the fact that over here, my computer has to connect via Wi-Fi, which doesn't work that well. It's not very fast, it's not very reliable, and there's all kinds of hiccups that you can get and security stuff. So I do need to initially connect to the internet to get the EA app running, but once it's running, that's it. The internet can do all it wants, whereas I just get to play my game. Now, of course, about the 2 packs that I've actually got with the Sims 3 starter pack that I got as a gift, there was late night and high-end loft stuff, and later on by myself I actually got 2 more expansion packs for The Sims 3, and those were seasons, which adds what it says on the tin, seasons and their associated holidays and stuff, and Into the Future, which adds time travel, plumbots, which are kind of robotic sim, and general futuristic themes to your current world as well. I actually bought these online, and I suggest you not do that anymore because EA has been bought out by some Saudi investors, and paying any penny towards EA is going to help them to commit human rights violations. I mostly had a lot of fun playing in Late Night's town Bridgeport, which is like a city, a medium-sized city. As well as that, there's also Sunset Valley, which is like the default town that you get in The Sims 3. I actually did a couple playthroughs in that as well, including a couple that I've actually got on video so many years ago, and you've probably never seen because, well, they weren't all that popular. But I do hope to be able to show you some gameplay again, both in this video and potentially in future ones as well. So let's get into it and show how I installed The Sims 3 through Proton, including a trick that is actually very important. If you want to keep your data even through a backup or reinstallation of just the EA app. So here I am at the desktop, and the first thing I have to do to get Windows games like The Sims going is in order to install the Steam client application, which can actually be found in the standard program repositories of many Linux distributions if you look for it. But be aware that Steam is not a free program, and so it's going to need its own installer. So just follow the instructions and create your Steam account as well. So let's start Steam. I'm going to sign up in big picture mode because I like that. It takes a little moment, but eventually we'll get there. There we go. And as you can see, we have all our applications that we have classified. So let's exit the big picture mode so I can see what's going on. So we go into the library, and then as you can see here, I'm going to the properties. That's the EA app. Now the way we install the EA app is you first download the app from the EA website, and then you load it in by clicking add a game, add a non-Steam game, browse, and then going over here to the downloads and clicking the installer. If you're in games that use the Epic Game Store, you already own those, well, you can do the same there. Our next step it's actually kind of interesting. We have to then of course launch the application, which is done in the library again by going to application and then clicking play. The first time you do that, you're going to get installation screen and you'll be on your way. Eventually it becomes time for the next step, and this is to enable your hidden folders. That's this option over here, the one with the checkbox when you click right. Then go to a folder called .steam, then Steam apps, compatadata, and then you'll find a number of folders, and one of those is going to be where your EA app is installed, and you can find that by clicking on the folder, then PFX drive C program files, and if you find an electronic arts folder and an EA games folder, you're on your way. This is actually a default place where I put all my Windows applications, and you might see these little weird symbols that you've never seen before on a file. Those are called symbolic links, and they're best made using a program called Double Commander, because it allows you to properly have two file or folders next to each other like this. So we're going to go into the same place over here, and then here I'm going to open up a folder elsewhere where I want to put in, for instance, a folder Proton. Now the idea is I'm going to go to the program files here, and EA Games, look there it is, EA Games, and then The Sims 3. The Sims 3 actually lives in a folder inside the EA Games folder so that the EA app can find it. The point is, what I'm going to do here is I'm going to right click on the folder whilst transferring it to the right, and you'll see this little menu here. You click make symbolic link, and there you go. In the program files folder there should be a folder with this little arrow thing that indicates that you have a symbolic link. Now this is pretty handy if you want to have protection in the event that just your EA app needs to be reinstalled. I actually had that happen once, and what I did was I reinstalled the app, and it automatically I had to put the folder back in that symbolic link, and everything was finalized immediately. Now where it's more important to do that is your games folder, your saves. Those must end up in a place that you'll back up. For instance, here I've got documents, and if I go over here to users, Steam user, there's my documents, which is actually a symbolic link, as you can see here. So it links to here, so that the save file. It's actually the Sims 3 that links, and then the Sims 3 links here so that I can access my save files pretty easily. For instance, for a backup. This is a very important step because you don't want to lose your saves. And now all I'm going to have to do is click play on the EA app. Well, actually not quite, there's one more thing. We're going to go into properties and then set the target right to where our EA desktop exe is. Otherwise it won't work. And hopefully now it does work, so let's see what happens. That's actually a teaser for the next video, so let's pause over there. Ah, there we go, the EA app is running. Right over there. And that's the power of Proton. I tried this under Play on Linux, and it plain wouldn't work. Play on Linux, I wouldn't recommend that program unless you're very tech savvy and know what you're doing. Also because that would create a link to every exe so that it can be played via, and I'm talking over my break now, via the Play on Linux application. This is dangerous because there could be malware that sneaks into your downloads folder and finds its way into your Linux system this way to thrash your saves or worse. And now we've got the EA app, as you can see here, and all I have to do is I logged into my mum's account with my new password, She actually did give permission for that again and all the security stuff. And now I can go ahead and play The Sims 3. In fact, I could go ahead and buy some new online expansion packs from here if I wanted to. But again, I don't recommend that with the current, stuff related to EA. But hey, at least I can go ahead and have a look at the add-ons I already have. So there's Into the Future, which I bought myself. Let's see. Very Seasoned, I also bought that one myself. There is Late Night, which I actually owned as part of the gift, and High End Loft Stuff, which I also own as part of the gift I had. So you can see the full Sims 3 suite is installed. Now when we're done playing the Sims 3 and we're at the EA app again, I'm going to right click this little logo here, click exit, and the EA app closes. Then I can close off the Steam application. So that's all the mechanics and stuff. Now maybe I can go ahead and show you some actual gameplay later on.
crab? Huh. Ooh. Uh-huh. Ah, chorple. Oh, oh. Oh, Diddy. Oh, Lord. Oh. Ooh. Huh? Ooh. Srippy. Oh. Huh. Ah. Hmm. Stravadatula. Prebuland. Casey.
TikTok.
I hope you've enjoyed this video. If you do, please give a thumbs up and share this video with all your friends, and perhaps consider subscribing to my channel. Thank you, and I'll see you next time.